Valar Morghulis. What if Robb Stark escaped the Red Wedding? Let's explore the possibilities that might have been. The camp of the northern host spreads along the banks of the Green Fork. Evening shadows stretch long, and the air is heavy with the scent of the river and damp tents. Robb Stark stands outside his pavilion, hands clasped behind him, gazing at the twins, two identical castles straddling the river, connected by a stone bridge. The wedding of Edmure Tully and Roslin Frey is set to seal a fragile alliance, but all day, Robb has felt an unease gnawing at him. Grey Wind, his great direwolf, prowls restlessly within a hastily made pen near the stables. He snaps at anyone who comes too close, and Robb does not like it. The wolf's mood is a mirror to his own. Catelyn Stark approaches, her face etched with worry.
Robb, you look troubled.
Robb Stark turns, forcing a tight smile.
Mother, I cannot shake this feeling. Lord Walder Frey is too accommodating. He invited us in, yes, but I sense tension. The halls are filled with curious eyes and too few smiles.
Walder Frey delights in making others uncomfortable, but we must trust this marriage alliance. Edmure weds Roslin tonight, and that should heal old wounds.
Robb runs a hand through his auburn curls.
I pray you are right. Still, I'll station some of our men in the outer yard near our horses. I want to ensure that if anything goes awry, we're not caught unawares.
Catelyn nods slowly, concern deepening in her eyes.
Do as you must, my son.
Mother, I've already taken precautions. I left Talisa at River Run safe under my uncle's protection. She wished to accompany me, but I would not risk her well-being here, not with so much uncertainty.
He summons a small cadre of loyal Northmen, men from House Castle and House Tallheart, to keep watch. He knows it might be seen as discourteous, but courtesy is not worth his family's blood. Inside the great hall of the twins, long trestle tables groan under roasted meats, fresh bread, and flagons of wine. The air is thick with heat and noise. Minstrels tune their instruments in a corner. Walder Frey, ancient and sharp-eyed, presides from a dais, his wrinkled face like old parchment. He surveys the assembled with a sly grin. Edmure Tully sits beside his new bride, Roslin Frey, who seems shy but sweet-natured. Edmure beams like a man who believes in happy endings.
Sister, Roslin is a gem. The Freys have surprised me.
I am pleased for you, Edmure. May this marriage bring peace.
Robb stands nearby in his mail under a fine doublet of stark gray and white. He has accepted bread and salt, drunk their wine, but he does not remove his sword belt. Many of his lords do the same. Rose Bolton, pale and calm, sips wine as if nothing in the world could trouble him. The Freys move about, smiling too readily, refilling cups too often.
Robb, relax. You are making them suspicious.
If they suspect I suspect, that might keep them honest.
He notices Walder Frey's brood, Lame Lothar, Black Walder, exchanging glances. Edmure's bedding is imminent, the final custom before the feast ends. Outside, the wind picks up. Robb feels Grey Wind's absence keenly. The time comes for the bedding. The hall erupts with laughter and bawdy jokes. Men step forward to carry Roslin off. Women pull at Edmure's clothes. It should be harmless fun, but Robb sees something else. Frey men drifting toward doors, the musicians exchanging nods.
Mother, do you hear that?
Catelyn strains to listen. The minstrels begin a new tune. The Rains of Castamere. A Lannister song, ominous and out of place in a wedding meant to mend northern and riverine alliances.
The Rains of Castamere. Robb, something is wrong.
Before Robb can respond, the doors slam shut. Frey crossbowmen emerge from behind tapestries. Walder Frey stands, raising a hand.
My honored guest, a gift for you.
Chaos threatens. Robb's heart hammers. He clenches his fists. He will not be caught like a lamb to slaughter.
Mother, down!
He drops to a crouch, pulling Catelyn with him as a quarrel flies overhead. Northmen shout in alarm. The Frey's treachery has begun, but Robb is prepared, or as prepared as one can be. All day, Robb had felt uneasy. Before entering the hall, he had quietly ordered a handful of picked men, loyal clansmen from the north and some seasoned archers, to remain just outside, feigning drunkenness. He also ensured that their horses were not stabled too far. Now, as arrows fly, these guards rush in at Robb's shouted command.
Now, my friends, for the north!
With a savage cry, they push past startled Frey guards at the main doors. A Frey crossbowman looses a bolt that nicks Robb's shoulder. Pain flares, but he ignores it.
Robb, the music.
But the music becomes screams as Northerners counterattack. Bolton men who expected easy prey find steel meeting their blades. Within moments, the hall is bedlam. Tableware clatters, men topple over benches, and the smell of blood rises. Edmure Tully is dragged from the betting party by loyal Tully men who manage to slip their daggers free. Roslin cries out in fear.
Please, no harm.
A Frey steps to seize Catelyn, but Robb slashes him across the chest. He glares at Walder Frey, who remains on the dais, shrieking commands.
Kill them! Kill the young wolf!
Outside, the howls of grey wind fill the night. The direwolf, furious and sensing his master's peril, throws himself against the pen's wooden bars. Northern soldiers loyal to Robb break grey wind free. The great wolf charges into the courtyard, scattering Frey soldiers who rush to barricade doors. Within the hall, Robb's loyalists rally around him. The surprise was meant for them, but they are no lambs. The North remembers, and these men fight like cornered wolves. Catelyn crawls under a table, snatching a knife from a fallen Frey. Her heart breaks for the broken trust, but she focuses on survival.
Robb, behind you!
A Frey swings an axe at Robb's back. Robb twists, catching the axe with his sword's edge, and headbutts the man. Another bolt skims past Robb's ear.
Protect the king in the north!
Hearing that cry, more northern lords who had not fully disarmed, the Mormonts, the Tallhearts, reveal hidden daggers. They rise, turning the tables. Walder Frey's trap is not the silent slaughter he planned. Soon, the Freys begin to fall back. The Frey attack is disorganized without the element of complete surprise. Some Freys drop their weapons and kneel, begging mercy. Others try to flee, only to find grey wind and northern archers blocking the courtyard. Robb leaps onto the dais, sword held high. Walder Frey, cowering behind his kin, shrills at his men.
Fight, you fools! Don't let them take me!
But few answer him now. Seeing their treachery fail, Lothar Frey and Black Walder attempt to slip away through a side door. A Mormont soldier hurls a spear, pinning Lothar's leg to the doorframe. Black Walder is forced back into the hall.
Lord Walder, you invited me under guest right and tried to murder us. For this, I cannot forgive.
Walder Frey's eyes bulge.
You broke your vow first, boy. You swore to marry one of my daughters, but instead took that foreign bride from the south.
Catelyn emerges from behind a toppled table, her dress torn, face grim.
We offered you the chance to amend old wrongs. This is your answer?
Robb's men encircle the dais. Freys lie dead or dying. Roslin sobs beside Edmure, who holds her protectively.
Robb, what do we do now?
Robb contemplates Walder Frey. The old man stinks of fear. Robb thinks of his father's honor, Ned Stark's legacy. He thinks of the price of mercy and the need for justice.
We take them prisoner, all of them.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you like this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 99% of you watch the videos without subscribing. Imagine what we could accomplish if everyone subscribed. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, is it done? Great, thank you so much. As dawn breaks over the blood-stained hall, Robb's forces secure the twins. Frey survivors are disarmed. Horses are readied. Robb learns that Rose Bolton slipped away at the start of the melee. Clever traitor that he is. But he cannot have gotten far.
Rose Bolton was here. He wore mail under his clothing. I saw it.
I should have guessed. Bolton treachery. I'll not let him escape.
He sends mounted scouts to hunt Bolton down on the roads to the south. The Frey Castle Guard, confused and leaderless, submit when promised their lives if they surrender. Great John Umber, who was drugged with strong wine to keep him placid, awakens groggy but furious.
Robb, I dreamt of Frey stabbing us in the back. Gods be good, it was no dream.
Robb Stark smiles grimly.
We live, Great John, and now we hold the twins. Walder Frey is our prisoner.
The Northmen cheer. Robb sends ravens at once, to River Run, to the Lords of the Trident. He wants all to know the Frey treachery has failed. Outside, beyond the walls, a pair of figures approach warily. Arya Stark and Sandor Clegane, the Hound, have come too late for the original slaughter they feared. Instead, they find the aftermath of a battle.
The twins. There was supposed to be a wedding. The Hound said we'd never get in unnoticed.
Looks like someone else made a mess of their wedding. Your wolf brother still might be inside, girl.
Arya's heart leaps with hope. She has been adrift, lost, hunted. If Robb lives...
Hound, if Robb is alive, maybe I can go home.
Sandor eyes her.
If he's alive, I won't get paid for delivering you to your mother. But I've had enough of Lannister gold. Let's see what welcome we find.
They approach a gate where northern guards now hold Frey men at sword point. One northern soldier blinks in astonishment at Arya's face, so like her mother's.
Gods, that's Arya Stark.
Soon, word reaches inside. Catelyn and Robb rush out, disbelief and joy mingling.
Arya, my precious girl.
Mother, Robb!
They embrace fiercely, tears in their eyes. The men watch, moved by the reunion. Robb thanks the Hound with a curt nod. Sandor just shrugs.
A lot of fuss for a little wolf. I'll be on my way if you don't mind.
Hound, you delivered my sister safely. For that, I won't forget.
I expect no less. Take care, wolves.
He departs, leaving Arya with her family once more. Far to the south, in King's Landing, news travels slowly. But within a week, whispers arise that Walder Frey's wedding surprise failed, and that Robb Stark has taken the twins and captured Walder Frey. The Lannisters are confounded. In the Red Keep's gardens, Sansa Stark sits on a bench beside Margaery Tyrell, newly betrothed to King Joffrey. Sansa's marriage to Tyrion Lannister has been forced upon her. She feels trapped and fearful.
Sansa, have you heard the rumors? They say your brother Robb lives, and that the Frey's plot failed.
Sansa Stark presses her trembling hands together.
I'm scared. If Robb lives, Joffrey might blame me for his survival. He might think I had a hand in it.
Hush, sweet Sansa. You are blameless. No one can hold you accountable for events so far away.
Sansa tries to find comfort in Margaery's words, but terror lingers in her heart. She cannot show joy openly. It might cost her dearly. Tyrion Lannister approaches, cautious and kind.
Lady Sansa, you seem troubled.
I fear what the Lannisters will do now that the North remains defiant.
Tyrion sighs, understanding too well the precarious nature of politics in King's Landing.
We must all tread carefully. The game has changed.
Back at the Twins, Robb convenes a gathering in the Great Hall, now cleared of corpses. Walder Frey is dragged forward in chains, along with a few key conspirators. Edmure stands tall beside Robb, Roslin clinging to his arm. Catelyn and Arya watch from the sidelines. Great John Umber and other northern lords form a stern audience.
Lord Walder, you invited me here as a guest, gave bread and salt, then tried to murder me and my kin. I name you a traitor to the North and the Riverlands.
It was your fault, breaking faith, marrying that girl, the Lannisters.
Robb slams his sword pommel on the table.
Silence. Your crimes are clear, yet I am no butcher. I will not slaughter your entire house. Instead, I will exact terms.
The hall is silent. The Freys look fearfully at their lord, who trembles like a leaf.
You, Walder Frey, will yield the twins to the River Lords. The Freys shall remain bannermen to the Tullys. Your grandsons will serve as hostages to ensure your good behavior. And you will send letters to all your allies, condemning this treachery.
Walder Frey sputters.
You can't.
He can. Your life is in his hands.
You dare.
Robb Stark stands firm.
If you refuse, I will hang you today and name a more loyal Frey as Lord of the Crossing. Perhaps Roslin's fidelity might spare some of your brood, but not you.
My bride Roslin has proven blameless. She knew nothing of this plot.
Robb nods.
For Roslin's sake and Edmure's happiness, I show mercy. Choose, Walder Frey.
Weeping with frustration, Walder Frey consents. The twins come under Tully oversight, ensuring Frey compliance. Ravens fly out, announcing Robb's victory over the treachery. At midday, scouts return with news. Rose Bolton was captured trying to cross the Green Fork to the south. Dragged back in chains, Bolton shows no fear.
King Robb, I served you loyally until it served me no longer. The Lannisters offered me the North, and I took it.
Catelyn Stark's face contorts with disgust.
How could you betray the son of your liege lord?
War tests loyalty. The Red Wedding was meant to end this war swiftly.
Robb contemplates the fate of Rose Bolton. The Karstarks and Umbers clamor for Bolton's death.
Hang him! Flay the flayer, I say!
Robb remembers his father's code. The man who passes the sentence should swing the sword.
Rose Bolton, for treason against the king in the north and House Stark, I sentence you to death.
No plea for mercy passes Bolton's lips. He only inclines his head, cold as ever. Before dusk, Robb personally executes Rose Bolton outside the twins. A solemn hush falls as northern men witness justice done. With the Freys subdued and Bolton dead, Robb secures the Riverlands more firmly. He writes to Riverrun, informing Talisa of his survival and victory. He sends missives to loyal lords in the north, bidding them hold fast. A week later, unexpected visitors arrive. Envoys from Highgarden. Mace Tyrell's emissaries bear respectful greetings. They have learned that the Lannisters' cunning trap failed. The realm's balance shifts.
King Robb, my Lord Mace Tyrell wishes to discuss common cause against the Lannisters. They are weakened, and if we act together, we might bring about a swifter peace.
The Tyrells supported the Iron Throne. Why change now?
Because the Lannisters' promises ring hollow and their cruelty grows. The Tyrells value stability. Your survival proves the North is not to be trifled with.
Catelyn regards the envoy carefully. She knows alliances can turn tides.
If we align, what terms do you propose?
We suggest a pact of mutual defense. Highgarden will curtail the flow of Lannister supplies, and in return, the North and Riverlands might consider a future marriage alliance or trade agreements.
Robb considers. His war against the Iron Throne was sparked by his father's murder. With Frey treachery foiled, perhaps he can bring King's Landing to the table for peace or secure better positions for his sisters.
We will consider this offer. I must first see to the strengthening of the North and ensure my sister's safety.
The envoy nods. Rumors say Sansa is a hostage in King's Landing. Arya now safe with her family, and Bran and Rickon somewhere in the north. Robb wants them all safe before any final move. At the twins, the mood lightens over time. Roslin Frey weeps from relief that her family lives, even if shamed. Edmure Tully comforts her.
Roslin, you are a lady of House Tully now. We'll build a better future for the Riverlands together.
Thank you, Edmure. I feared you would hate me.
Edmure shakes his head.
You had no part in this treachery.
Arya Stark, reunited with her mother and brother, struggles with the horrors she witnessed on the road. She confides in Catelyn.
Mother, I've seen too much death. I thought I lost you all.
Catelyn holds Arya close, tears in her eyes.
You are home now, Arya. We will keep you safe.
Robb, hearing them, vows silently to find a way to rescue Sansa as well. He must deal with the Iron Throne, possibly force a truce or ensure Sansa's release. Robb dispatches ravens, one to Castle Black, inquiring about his brothers Bran and Rickon, rumored lost. Another to White Harbor, asking the Manderleys to stand firm. He also sends word to Dorne, hoping to sound out their stance since the Lannisters offended them with Elia Martell's murder years ago. He confers with Catelyn.
Mother, if we can rally the Vale or gain Dorne's sympathy, we could encircle the Lannisters.
The Vale is ruled by Lysa, who mourns my father's as well as husband's death. She might refuse all entreaties out of fear. Dawn is slow to move, but they hate the Lannisters. Time might favor us.
Robb paces, restless.
We must move carefully. The Tyrrell offer intrigues me. If they curb the Lannisters from the south, we can apply pressure in the Riverlands. Perhaps we can demand Sansa's safe return as part of a peace treaty.
Arya stands nearby, listening.
Robb, if we can get Sansa back, then all of us.
We will, Arya, I swear it.
In King's Landing, Sansa grows quieter, more poised, hiding her terror behind courtesy. She stands with Tyrion on a balcony overlooking the city.
Sansa, the court whispers that Robb Stark has thwarted a Frey plot. He holds the twins.
That means my family is alive. I should be glad, but I'm scared. The Lannisters will be angrier than ever.
Tyrion tries to reassure her.
I will do what I can to protect you. Joffrey may rave, but my father Tywin is pragmatic. With Robb alive and victorious, the Lannisters must re-evaluate their strategy.
She studies Tyrion's mismatched eyes, uncertain if she can trust him.
Thank you, my lord. I miss my family terribly.
Tyrion nods, understanding more than she knows.
Perhaps this new balance of power will give us a chance to negotiate. The realm needs peace.
Within a fortnight, a raven returns from Highgarden with more concrete proposals. The Tyrells suggest a secret meeting between their ambassadors and Robb's representatives at Maidenpool, a neutral ground in the Riverlands. Catelyn volunteers to go, but Robb hesitates.
I should send Edmure. As Lord of Riverrun, he is closely tied to these lands. Also, I must remain with the army to ensure order at the Twins and secure our position.
Agreed. Edmure will represent us well, and I will remain at your side this time. I will not leave you in these uncertain days.
Robb, can I come with you wherever you go now?
Robb smiles gently at his sister.
A battlefield is no place for you, Arya. But I won't send you away. Stay close, stay safe. One day we'll return to Winterfell.
Arya nods, her eyes shining at the thought of going home. With the Freys subdued, Robb must reassert northern strength. He orders the rebuilding of alliances fractured by the war. He writes to House Manderly, House Glover, House Serwyn, asking them to prepare for a future push to retake Moat Cailin if the Ironborn still hold it.
The Ironborn hold part of the north, but with our forces intact, we can push them out. Once our southern flank is secure, we must reclaim every inch of our homeland.
Aye, your grace. The Ironborn are raiders, not conquerors. We'll show them the price of their folly.
One battle at a time, Robb. Secure peace with the Tyrells and possibly force a treaty with the Crown. Then we handle the Ironborn.
Robb knows she is right. He cannot fight all enemies at once. Strategic patience will serve him better than reckless valor. Edmure Tully rides to Maidenpool, escorted by a small retinue. There, beneath the watchful eyes of both Stark Tully men and Tyrell soldiers, the meeting proceeds. The Tyrell ambassador, Lady Leonette Fossaway, speaks kindly.
My Lord Edmure, Highgarden seeks a balanced peace. The Lannisters are weakened by their failure at the Twins. We would see a stable north and Riverlands, not more chaos.
King Robb desires the return of his sister Sansa and recognition of the North's independence. He also desires the Riverlands to remain free of Lannister influence.
That may be negotiated. In return, the Tyrells would require assurance that when the war ends, trade routes reopen, and we see no raids into the Reach.
They talk for hours, sipping watered wine, exchanging conditions. A preliminary understanding forms. The Tyrells will pressure the Lannisters to sue for peace, or at least to release Sansa Stark. In exchange, Robb will not march south into the Reach, and future trade will benefit both sides. In the Red Keep, Tywin Lannister receives garbled accounts of failed treachery at the Twins and Tyrell intrigues. He sits in silence, steepling his fingers.
Cersei, Joffrey's arrogance has cost us an ally in Walder Frey. Now the Freys are humiliated and controlled by the Starks.
Cersei paces, furious.
The Tyrells have always been opportunistic. Now they align with the wolves to bring down the lion.
We must consider peace. If Robb Stark stands strong, and we cannot rely on the Boltons or Freys. We risk a long, costly war.
Joffrey Baratheon bursts in, red-faced.
I want the Stark girl's head! Sansa should pay!
Tywin fixes Joffrey with a cold stare.
Silence, boy. Shouting will achieve nothing. We may need Sansa as a bargaining chip.
Joffrey sulks, but Tywin's word is law. They must rethink their strategy. A month after the Red Wedding's failed treachery, a raven from King's Landing arrives at the twins. It bears news that the crown is open to discussing terms. They offer a hostage exchange. Sansa Stark returned to her family in exchange for a cessation of hostilities, and possibly the release of certain Lannister bannermen captured in earlier skirmishes.
Oh, Robb, Sansa might come home.
Sansa alive. We can be sisters together again.
Robb Stark weighs the offer. He must ensure no trick. He sends a cautious reply, agreeing to meet Crown representatives at a neutral location along the Trident. On a crisp autumn morning, a small party from King's Landing meets Robb Stark's delegation by the Trident. Tyrion Lannister stands at their head, guarded but polite. Sansa rides beside him, pale but determined.
Robb.
Robb Stark dismounts, rushes forward, and embraces his sister gently.
Sansa, thank the gods.
Arya joins them, tears in her eyes.
Sansa, I missed you.
I'm scared, but now that I see you both, I feel braver.
Tyrion clears his throat.
We have delivered Lady Sansa as agreed. In return, the Crown requests a temporary truce.
Robb nods. He has no desire for endless bloodshed.
We agree to a truce while we hammer out a lasting peace. The North and Riverlands must be free of Lannister claws.
Tyrion smiles wryly.
We shall see what can be done. Until then, may cooler heads prevail.
With Sansa and Arya reunited with Robb and Catelyn, and the Riverlands steady under Tully's stewardship, the Stark cause looks stronger than ever. They secure the twins under a loyal Castellan chosen from among the River Lords. The Freys, humbled, swear anew their fealty. Edmure and Roslin settle into a calmer married life, and Roslin proves a gentle, kind influence on Edmure.
Robb, we must next address the Ironborn problem. Balon Greyjoy still holds Moat Cailin.
I will send word to House Manderley. With the Frey betrayal thwarted, we can move north. Once Moat Cailin falls, the north is ours fully again.
What of King's Landing? Will the Lannisters strike back?
Robb takes her hand.
We hold their shame over them. They tried to slay us under guest right. The realm knows. Their position weakens. With the Tyrells and possibly Dorne leaning away from the Lannisters, they cannot afford reckless attacks. Peace, or at least a stalemate, might follow.
I hope they suffer.
Catelyn soothes Arya's anger.
Patience, child. Vengeance is a fierce fire, but we must not burn ourselves.
Another moon's turn passes. Negotiations continue via ravens and envoys. The Lannisters, pressed by Tyrell maneuvers and unrest in the west, yield ground. In exchange for northern withdrawal from the south, they formally acknowledge northern independence and agree to restore certain Riverlord lands ravaged by war. Dorne remains quiet, but not hostile. The Vale stays aloof, Lisa Tully refusing to commit.
We have what we need for now. Our family safe, our land secure. The Iron Throne is wounded. Perhaps in time, we can rebuild a realm at peace.
Your father would be proud, Robb. You brought our family through the darkest night.
A toast to the king in the north!
All the northern and river lords present roar their approval. Robb Stark smiles, though sadness still lies behind his eyes. The cost has been great, but at least his kin survive. He will return to Winterfell once it is safe, restore his home, and ensure no false guest right breaks the north again. In the months that follow, a tenuous peace settles over Westeros. The North and Riverlands form a confederation under King Robb Stark. The twins remain under careful watch. Walder Frey's heirs serve as guests in Riverrun, ensuring the old man's good behavior. Sansa and Arya find some measure of peace together. Arya sneaks into the practice yard, sparring with a wooden sword, dreaming of becoming a warrior. Sansa learns diplomacy, helping Catelyn and Robb manage letters and alliances. Catelyn receives word from the Blackfish at River Run. He holds the castle secure. Talisa sends affectionate letters to her husband, awaiting his return. Robb plans to ride to River Run soon to see his queen. In King's Landing, Tyrion Lannister sighs relief that bloodshed has paused. Marguerite Tyrell watches Joffrey carefully, knowing her family's subtle influence now sways the realm's fate more than ever. The realm is not at perfect peace, but a fragile calm prevails.
Westeros turns like a great creaking wheel, each spoken ambition or old grief, each rotation a lifetime. The Red Wedding's treachery failed. Robb Stark and his kin yet live, holding the Riverlands and forging a more cautious peace. Yet peace in the Seven Kingdoms is ever fleeting. In King's Landing, lions prowl behind gilded bars of their own making. On Dragonstone's shores, a stag crowned in red fire broods and schemes. Across the narrow sea, a dragon queen paces in restless dreams. The wolves of the north have slipped the noose, but fate is not done with them. Not yet. Morning at the Twins. Dawn's light gilds the battlements of the Twins. Inside a refurbished chamber, Robb Stark stands at a heavy table covered in maps and letters. His mother, Catelyn Stark, and his sisters, Sansa and Arya, stand close by. Ravens from King's Landing and the Reach lie piled beside riverine petitions. The hall is quieter now, cleansed of Frey treachery. Walder Frey is long gone to the wall, and Edmure Tully holds the castle in trust, while Roslin Frey strives to mend shattered loyalties.
The realm holds its breath, Robb. The Lannisters have not struck again, and the Tyrells whisper of peace. But we mustn't be lulled. Our strength is untested outside these riverlands.
We know this, Mother. We march north soon, to reclaim Moat Cailin from the Ironborn and restore Winterfell. Without a stable north, all promises of peace ring hollow.
Arya stands by the window, restless, her grey eyes tracking the distant fields. She yearns for Winterfell's familiar halls, but also something more, her own path, untamed and unknown.
Home. I wonder if it will feel the same. I've changed. We all have.
Sansa, though more poised and wary since her time in King's Landing, smiles sadly.
Winterfell's stones, remember. We can make it whole again, and ourselves in the making.
We must believe it. The North awaits.
Yet outside the room, fate twists. A new raven has arrived, one bearing a broken seal of a black stag within a flaming heart. A message from Dragonstone. At Dragonstone. Winds howl around the volcanic isle. Inside the ancient fortress, Stannis Baratheon broods over a map of Westeros, flames dancing in tall braziers. Melisandre of Ashai stands beside him, red robes rustling, her ruby throbbing at her throat. Davos Seaworth waits near the door, anxious.
The boy wolf lives. The Freys failed. Bolton is dead. A stronger north weakens the Lannisters' hold. Perhaps this is my chance.
Melisandre's eyes gleam with firelight.
The flames show shifting shapes. Wolves run free, lions bleed behind their walls, and a one-time king beyond the wall stirs. But to claim your rightful throne, we must kindle a new blaze.
Davos frowns, cautious.
Your Grace, the North will not bend easily. The Starks have reclaimed their pride. The Riverlands stand with them. If you mean to call banners, how will they receive you?
Stannis' jaw tightens.
I am the rightful king, by all laws. If Robb Stark would prefer independence, he must acknowledge me or face the consequences. The Lannisters reel. The Tyrells hedge their bets. If I strike swiftly, I may claim the North's allegiance, or at least pry them from any alliance with traitors.
Melisandre's voice is soft, hypnotic.
The Lord of Light shows me shadows. An iron-born threat in the neck, a southern king who falters, and a hidden power growing across the sea. To prevail, you must move soon.
Stannis writes a letter, his quill scratching harshly. He will send envoys north, testing the waters. Perhaps the boy wolf will learn that oaths cut both ways. He cannot allow a kingdom to slip free when the Iron Throne is his by right. In King's Landing. The Red Keep's gardens are strangely quiet. Tywin Lannister sits beneath a carved stone lion, reading reports. Cersei paces at his side, fury in every step. Joffrey sulks within earshot, smashing ants with his heel. Tyrion stands apart, ever the observer,
The Starks have not marched south. They fortify their position. The Tyrells press for a lasting peace. The Frey gambit is lost. We must adapt.
Cersei Holt's eyes narrowed.
Adapt? You mean surrender to northern arrogance? We should send assassins, weaken them quietly. Without the Red Wedding, we've lost our best chance. Perhaps a subtle blade in the dark.
Tywin shakes his head.
Too direct. The realm expects a certain decorum. But there are ways. The youngest Stark girl, Arya, might be vulnerable. She was lost before, rumored dead or wandering. If we took her now, how might the wolves behave?
Joffrey snickers, imagining cruelty.
Let's hang her in the yard. Make the wolf boy beg.
Tyrion's brow furrows.
Madness. Abducting a Stark will only stiffen their resolve, unless you can use her quietly. Still, Arya Stark vanished from our nets before. Are you sure we can find her?
Tywin's lips thin into a cruel smile.
We have ways. There are mercenaries not known for loyalty. A whisper to the Golden Company. No, they are too proud. The bloody mummers, scattered. Perhaps a sellsword band out of Lys, men who know how to snatch and vanish. Let the blame fall elsewhere. We must sow chaos quietly.
He leans forward.
One wolf pup as a hostage could force concessions. If we hold the girl, we force Robb Stark's hand. Let the North tremble, and then we strike bargains.
Tyrion says nothing, knowing it will end in blood. Cersei smiles thinly. Joffrey giggles. The die is cast. Arya Stark's freedom must be taken if they can manage it. The seeds of a scheme sprout in the darkness beneath the throne of swords. On the road north, Robb Stark's host departs the twins, bound for Moat Cailin and beyond. The banners of houses Umber, Manderley, Tallheart, and Glover flutter in the wind. Catelyn and Sansa ride in comfort near the van. Arya rides closer to the scouts, fascinated by their quiet competence. As they camp near a wooded copse, Arya slips away at dusk to practice with her thin blade, Needle. Robb granted her leave to train with a master-at-arms who admired her spirit. Under moonlight, she lunges at a straw dummy, sweat beading on her brow. Suddenly, shadows move at the edge of the clearing. A soft step, a muffled grunt. Arya spins, needle raised, but three men, clad in dark leathers and hoods, rush her. She tries to scream, but a hand clamps over her mouth. Needle strikes one in the side, but they are too many.
Easy now, girl. Quiet, and you live.
Arya fights like a cornered cat, but a blow to her temple sends her vision swimming. She remembers only the taste of blood and dirt before darkness claims her. At camp, minutes later. Sansa grows restless as the night deepens. Arya should be back. She alerts Catelyn and the guards. A frantic search ensues. Robb, alerted, storms through the tents, shouting orders.
Find her, spread out torches. She can't have gone far.
But the kidnappers are skilled. They have horses waiting beyond a ridge. By dawn, Arya Stark has vanished. Catelyn's eyes brim with tears. Sansa trembles. Robb's face twists in fury.
My poor girl, taken again. We must not lose her.
We ride. Whoever took her must pay. I swear by all the old gods I will find Arya.
But as the Northmen scramble, messages arrive. The Ironborn at Moat Cailin stir, and reports come of a small force sailing up the Fever River. Time and enemies press from all sides.
Arya is strong. She survived the war's chaos before. She'll survive again. But Robb, we cannot abandon the North's reclamation. What would Arya want?
Robb's hands shake around the reins.
She'd want us not to fail our people. But I will send outriders, loyal men, to track her captors. We will not forsake Arya.
Catelyn sets her jaw. The world grows more dangerous. Robb must lead. Sansa must endure, and Arya, the gods only know. With the kidnappers, Arya wakes in a jolting cart, hands tied, head throbbing. Her captors speak in low accents, Essosi, perhaps Lysini. She pretends to be dazed, counting their numbers, 4 men and 1 woman, all hard-eyed. They murmur of a ship waiting on the Trident, a clandestine journey east.
The Lannister gold was good. If we hurry, we'll have her in King's Landing within the moon's time.
Arya's heart pounds, Lannisters behind this. She grits her teeth. She must escape or die trying. That night, She slips her wrist bonds loose, using needle's hidden point. Her captors missed her blade, tucked in her boot after the struggle. As they rest near a muddy creek, Arya plunges needle into the watchman's thigh and bolts into darkness. Shouts erupt. She flees blindly. Hours pass in terror until she stumbles onto a fisher's hut along a river bend. A frightened old man ferries cargo to a ship at anchor. Arya, desperate, slips aboard, hidden among crates, unsure where the ship sails. Better that than King's Landing's dungeons. At dawn, the ship sets sail eastward, toward the narrow sea. Arya Stark leaves Westeros behind, unknowingly bound for Braavos. In the north, Moat Cailin. Robb Stark sets about retaking the ruined fortress. The Ironborn, seeing the northern host's banners, attempt a parley. He offers them mercy if they yield. Half-starved and ill, they surrender. The north is open once more.
They knelt quick enough. Cowards! We should flay a few to send a lesson.
Robb shakes his head.
No flaying. We are not Boltons. Let them go. Weapons down. On ships to the islands. Their folly ends here.
Catelyn watches with approval. Mercy where possible, justice where necessary. Still, her heart aches for Arya. Every moment spent here is a moment Arya drifts farther away. After securing Moat Cailin, Robb leads his army north. Soon, they stand before Winterfell's blackened walls. The castle is wounded, but not dead.
Home. But without Arya and the others, it's only half a home.
Robb embraces her.
We will find Arya. We will search until the ends of the earth.
They begin repairs anew. Masons and carpenters pour in from White Harbour and Deepwood Motte. The north rallies under the Stark banner. Letters are sent across the narrow sea, begging traders to watch for a girl of Arya's description. Sansa arranges stores and provisions. Catelyn prays beneath the heart tree, tears falling into the moss. Winterfell stirs and breathes again, but a piece of its soul is missing. In King's Landing, Tyrion Lannister reads a coded message from their hired sellswords. He frowns and brings it to Tywin.
They failed. Arya Stark escaped them. There's rumor she fled east. She's gone from our reach now.
Tywin curses softly.
At least she's not in Robb's hands. The wolves know we tried something. They grow more cautious. We must redouble our efforts elsewhere.
Cersei taps a finger on the table.
Stannis moves in the east. He seeks northern friendships. If he wins the north, we are done. We must prevent any alliance. Perhaps we can feed Stannis false promises or strike at his supporters.
Tyrion rubs his temples.
We juggle daggers. The more we plot, the more enemies unite against us. Father, might we consider a formal peace with the North? Acknowledging their independence might buy us time to crush Stannis.
Joffrey hisses in protest, but Tywin considers. With Arya gone abroad, they have no leverage there. The Tyrells urge caution. The throne grows poorer, the gold mines waning. A careful treaty might be best.
Perhaps. A temporary recognition, a border treaty. Let the North rule itself, as long as they do not ally with our enemies. Yes, send out feelers. We must ensure Stannis gains no foothold with the wolf.
The game shifts again. On Dragonstone, later, Stannis receives word of the North's re-emergence and the Lannisters' plight. His jaw clenches. He sends Davos north in a small ship, with letters promising justice, recognition of their ancient rights, if they bend the knee to him. Perhaps the North, weary of southern duplicity, will trust a king who offers fairness and law.
Wolves do not kneel easily, yet the Lord of Light's will is that you try. Shadows coil around the boy wolf's court. I see a sister gone, a mother weeping, a king uncertain.
Stannis rages quietly.
If they will not join me, I must break them. But I'd rather have the North as an ally. Send Davos. If he fails, we consider harsher measures.
The night is long, the wind keen. Stannis stares into the flames, seeing outlines of dragons and direwolves, of a distant queen who builds strength far across the sea. Across the narrow sea, Braavos. The Titan of Braavos looms overhead as a small trading ship glides into the lagoon. Arya Stark, filthy and hungry, hides beneath tarps until the sailors disembark. She emerges into a world of canals and whispers, a city of titans and secrets. With no coin and a Westerosi accent, Arya wanders the alleys. Memories of Jaqen Hagar flit through her mind. Braavos, the word on his lips. He gave her that coin. She still has it, tucked in a hidden pouch. She takes it out, rubs the strange coin with her thumb, and remembers his words. Valar Morghulis. A Braavosi urchin stares at her.
You lost, girl?
Arya clenches her jaw.
I need to find the House of Black and White.
The boy pales and points silently toward the distant canals. Arya sets off, guided by fate or stubborn will. She crosses bridges of dark stone, passes masked priests and silent beggars. At the end of a quiet canal, she finds a door, half black, half white. The air smells of still water and old incense. She knocks. After long moments, a kindly-faced man opens. He looks at her as if seeing inside her soul.
I have nowhere else. Jaqen Hagar. He gave me this coin. Valar Morghulis.
The man inclines his head.
Valar Dohaeris, enter child, leave your name and troubles behind.
Arya steps inside, heart pounding. She does not yet know what awaits her, training, transformation, and sacrifice. The wolf girl will learn to wear many faces or be devoured by the shadows. Arya Stark's path leads into mystery deeper than any she's known. At Winterfell. Within the repaired Great Hall, Robb Stark sits at a high table. Catelyn and Sansa are with him, as are Great Janumba, Wyman Manderly, and Mage Mormont. They read Tywin Lannister's cautious proposal, a truce. The North rules itself, the Riverlands acknowledged as under Stark Tully protection in return for neutrality against the Crown.
They offer what we wanted, our independence. But can we trust them?
Trust the Lannisters? Never. Yet if they are weakened and need peace, we might secure breathing room. What of Stannis? Davos Seaworth wrote me, promising recognition and justice if we join him. He claims rightful kingship.
Sansa's eyes lower.
Stannis is just and stern, but he would demand we swear fealty. We escaped one crown's chains. Do we shackle ourselves to another?
The lords murmur. The North bled for Robb's cause. They want peace, not another war.
Your Grace, we have what we sought, the North free of southern meddling. Let us take it, rebuild, and find your lost siblings. We owe no king to the south.
Robb taps his fingers on the table. The letter from Stannis sits beside Tywin's terms.
If we ally with Stannis, we gain a righteous king, but lose our hard-won freedom. If we accept the Lannisters' truce, we keep our independence but leave the realm fractured.
Catelyn's voice is quiet.
Your father believed in honor and oaths, but these times demand cunning. The North is tired, Robb. We must think of our people.
Sansa nods, tears glimmering.
And Arya. If she's alive, we can send agents across the sea. Peace would give us time to find her.
I will write to Stannis, politely declining fealty but wishing him well. To the Lannisters, I will agree to a truce with careful conditions. The North and Riverlands stand free. Let the South contend with itself.
The lords nod, some relieved. The Raven flies that night, bearing Robb's decision. At Dragonstone, upon receiving Robb's reply, Stannis seethes.
The boy wolf refuses to bend. He thinks he can stand alone. Very well. When I take King's Landing, I will show him what it costs to ignore the rightful king.
Davos tries to soothe him.
Your Grace, the North is distant. Perhaps it is wise not to fight on all fronts.
Melisandre watches the flames dance.
The war is not done. A queen stirs across the sea, and when dragons return, all must choose sides. The wolf may yet regret this day.
Stannis sets his jaw. He orders ships prepared. The next phase of his campaign against the Iron Throne must begin. The wheel keeps turning. In King's Landing, Tyrion Lannister reads Robb's terms and nods thoughtfully. Tywin sits stern, but not displeased.
He accepts truce and autonomy. Good. We focus on Stannis and await other threats.
Cersei and Joffrey sulk, but Tywin's will prevails.
So be it. The North drifts from our control, but better that than them allied with Stannis. We hold the core kingdoms and the capital. The Tyrells still stand with us. We can regroup, rebuild our influence, and bide our time.
Thus, a fragile peace is born between the lion and the wolf, each mistrusting the other. Across the narrow sea, at the House of Black and White, Arya kneels before a still pool, candlelight flickering on the ancient statues. The kindly man, watches her reflection. She thinks of Winterfell, her mother's smile, Sansa's songs, Robb's stern love, and she bites her lip. But to survive here, she must let go of Arya Stark. Will she do it?
If you wish to become no one, you must cast off who you were. Names, grudges, all must vanish.
Arya swallows hard. She recalls the Lannisters who had her kidnapped, the broken promises of every noble house, but also the warmth of family. She cannot discard it entirely. Not yet.
Valar Morghulis.
The kindly man does not press her yet. He senses her turmoil. Her training will be long. Still, for now, Arya finds shelter from a cruel world and a path to power on her own terms. At Winterfell, some weeks later. Under crisp autumn skies, workers raise scaffolding along Winterfell's walls. Smoke curls from the restored kitchen chimneys. Inside the great hall, a modest feast is laid. The northern lords and riverine allies gather, celebrating their reclaimed stronghold.
Your father would be proud, Robb. We stand free and unbroken, though scarred.
We have peace, or something like it. Food in the stores, roofs overhead, and time to rebuild.
Robb sits at the head of the table, grey wind at his feet. He drinks to the memory of fallen friends, to Ned and those lost in war. The Northmen cheer, relieved to rest at last. Later that night, Robb walks the ramparts alone. He stares into the cold darkness. The truce with the Lannisters is but parchment. Trust is fragile. Stannis hovers like a storm cloud. The Ironborn may test their shores again. And what of Arya, Bran, Rickon, scattered like leaves in a gale?
Arya, wherever you are, be safe. Bran, Rickon, come home. I will hold the North for you.
He clenches his fist. The North stands proud. They have their land and lords, yet shadows deepen elsewhere. He feels it, a tremor in the marrow of his bones. At the wall. A rider arrives from Castle Black, bearing grim tidings. Wildlings stir beyond the wall, and the Night's Watch is weak. Jor Mormont is dead, slain by mutineers at Craster's Keep, and the Watch now looks to the realms of men for help. With the North independent, will they aid the black-clad brothers if the dead stir in the far north? Catelyn reads the letter, alarmed.
They say strange omens appear. White walkers, they whisper. Your father always taught us to heed the old stories. We must remember, Robb.
Robb grimaces. He must send men to aid the Watch, even as resources stretch thin. He cannot ignore the Wall's plea. The Night's Watch guarded them for thousands of years.
We will send what help we can. The realm's petty wars mean nothing if the tales are true. We must prepare quietly.
In Braavos, Arya's perspective. Arya trains with sticks and staffs in a candlelit chamber. Each blow echoes. She's bruised, hungry, determined. Between sessions, she polishes the coin Jaqen gave her. Sometimes, in dreams, she sees her family's faces. She wonders if Sansa is happy, if her mother smiles again, if Robb wears a crown of ice. She does not know that they have achieved a fragile peace, nor that the world beyond Braavos shifts like sand under waves. But within her grows a quiet resolve. One day she may return, or perhaps become something else entirely. The old Arya is fading, but a spark remains. At Dragonstone, plans unfold. Stannis orders his fleet to prepare for a strike at King's Landing. With Melisandre's guidance, he hopes to weaken the Lannisters further. He does not realize that by doing so, he might drive them back into more desperate acts, or that Daenerys Targaryen, across the sea, now rules Meereen and contemplates Westeros. A raven from Dawn arrives at Dragonstone, bearing cautious words. Dawn watches, waits, might consider Stannis if the Iron Throne falters further. Another piece on the board.
They all wait to see who emerges strongest. Let them wait. I shall break King's Landing, and then they will bend.
Davos is uneasy. War after war, and the winter draws near. He can only pray Stannis chooses wisely. In Meereen, Daenerys Targaryen. Daenerys stands on a high balcony, Drogons screeching overhead. She listens to whispers that the North has broken free and that the Seven Kingdoms are unstable. Perhaps, when she sails west, she will find not one kingdom, but many, ripe for forging into something new. Fire and blood may yet reshape this world.
They say the wolves refuse to kneel. Good. I prefer free men who might join willingly once I show them a better path. When I come with dragons, will they resist me or welcome me as a liberator?
Barristan Selmy bows.
That remains to be seen, Your Grace. The Starks are proud, but they value justice.
Dany ponders this, another variable in her grand plan. At Winterfell, a moon later. Reconstruction advances. Harvests trickle in. A raven arrives from across the narrow sea, bearing cryptic news. A Braavosi merchant swears he saw a girl matching Arya Stark's description in Braavos, near the House of Black and White. Robb's heart leaps, then sinks. The House of Black and White. Assassins, faceless men, mysteries.
Arya in Braavos among such folk, God's help her.
At least she's alive. Perhaps one day she'll return. We must hold on to hope.
Robb sends gold and discreet agents to Braavos to learn more, but he suspects they'll learn little. The faceless men keep their secrets well. Night falls over Winterfell's Godswood. The heart tree's red leaves whisper with the wind. Sansa and Catelyn pray beneath its gaze. Robb stands guard outside, thinking on all that has transpired. They have their home, their lands, and a treaty that grants them peace. Yet Arya is far away, forging a dangerous path. Bran and Rickon remain lost. Stannis stirs. The Lannisters lick wounds and plot anew. Across the sea, a dragon queen grows in power. The wall sends warnings of ancient evils. The north stands, but storms gather on all horizons. A letter arrives from one of Robb's agents along the narrow sea. It bears only a single line. The girl you seek walks in shadows, no longer a wolf, but a ghost. Robb crushes the parchment in his fist, uncertain if it's a clue or a cruel taunt. In the silence of the night, Grey Wind raises his head, ears pricked. The wind howls, and for a heartbeat, Robb imagines he hears Arya's voice carried on it, calling his name. He closes his eyes and envisions her safe, strong, alive.
We are home, Arya. Come back to us, someday.
Beyond Winterfell's walls, snows begin to fall. Winter creeps closer. The direwolf and the heart tree stand sentinel over a fragile peace. The stage is set for greater conflicts, alliances unmade and reforged. The players move unseen, from the halls of King's Landing to the temples of Braavos, from Dragonstone's basalt cliffs to Meereen's pyramids. The wheel turns again, and as the first snowflakes settle on the broken stones, one truth remains: no story ends cleanly. This is but a pause, a drawing of breath before the next storm. The north may rest, but the world's fury gathers. When it breaks, all must face the consequences. Valar Morghulis.